just a few days back, Oxfam released its Global Inequality Report. Here we are talking about high nationalism. We're talking about the great wealth of China and the United States and the way forward there and their geostrategic concerns. But aren't we forgetting that in this environment, in a place as rich as Davos, we sometimes miss the point about how the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. This has been statistically backed up. The number of billionaires, for example, in India has gone up tremendously. But if you look at the proportionate availability of wealth, the poor in a country like India, and this is true all across the world, is just a fraction of what the rich earn. Isn't this the biggest problem when it comes to nationalism?
I'm not convinced, but I'm not an economist, so bear with me. But in our country, we actually have a very progressive tax system where the richest bracket pays more than half of their income on tax. And there is relatively low unemployment, for example, yet nationalism and populism are on the rise.
Or in France.
Or in France. Well, in France they have a lot of systematic problems that have not been tackled the way in which we have. So, for example, we work 5 years longer than the French. Our pension age is 67, French pension age is 62, just to give one example, but their government expenses need to be reformed. The point is, though, that I think we have to, of course, look at the well-being of everyone in society, and you always have to cater more to the people that need it most. But my sense is that there's also something in the question of relative progress or relative decline. In absolute terms, many people in China are much worse off than they are in Europe, but they feel that they have the wind in their backs, that they're moving in the right direction. Same in Turkey for a long time. They struggle now, but for the last decade, many people in Turkey felt like they were going towards greater progress. In Europe, we've seen decades of almost automatic increase of wealth and prosperity after World War II, roughly speaking, and that is now questioned. It's not even definitively challenged, but it's questioned, and that creates fear. So my sense is that this relative position vis-a-vis the past and the future is also a factor that we have to be concerned about, and that politicians need to be honest about, because if you have an aging population, fewer people paying into a pension system, then you cannot expect the same kind of figures to go on. We had baby boomers, my parents' generation, many of them born after the war, that are now living longer. We're super happy with that. Our parents are with us for a longer period of time, but it also means we have to pay for their pensions for a longer period of time. And I believe people understand this, really, but they're hardly ever told the truth. It's easier for many politicians to blame immigrants, to blame China, to blame the trade war or Trump or what have you, to find a victim, instead of taking ownership of this product of our own society in some ways. So I believe that's
taxation,
part
I
of
think,
the
as the professor suggests, is something we need to look at closely, but to what extent is that feasible?